Well, welcome everybody. Welcome. Hope we're all doing good. Today we have on the schedule something fascinating, something very exciting. Pretty much the exact same thing we did yesterday. Oh, doesn't that sound good? So we're going to start off by going to the Desolation, and we're going to go do the Moor event. And then once we've done the Moor event, we're going to go do blah, blah, blah. Now, it actually was my plan today to do the story of the prologue straight into the next patch. But I'm not going to. Now, it's for a very weird reason. Today is one of those days where I'm super, super tired. So I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice, but I feel like my own voice is alien to me right now. I'm that tired. Basically, last night, I had the most ridiculous issue stopping me from sleeping I've ever had. Which, just so that everyone knows, I'm pretty much a heavy sleeper. You know, well, not a heavy sleeper, but I can get to sleep comfortably. I've never really had problems with insomnia or anything like that. You know, I'm a sound sleeper. I want to go to bed, I go to bed. I don't sleep at regular times necessarily, but, you know, if I'm in bed, I don't have any problems. But last night, I couldn't sleep. I slept maybe 2 hours out of a total, like, 8 trying, right? And it's because I had the hiccups. Now, that's not a joke. By the way, if people want to play with me, I'm on EU right now. We're going to do more. It starts in 2 minutes. I have a squad. You guys can join on. I'll appear online. You can go for it. That's not a joke. Genuinely, I got the hiccups shortly before bed when I drank... what did I have a drink of? I think I had a can of Coke. I think I had a can of Coke shortly-ish before bed. And I had the hiccups. And I had the hiccups while I was brushing my teeth. I got in bed and it just kept going and going and going. Why am I dead, by the way? What the hell? How squishy is my build? Oh, this isn't actually a build. Oh, yeah, by the way, all my builds broke because every time I record a balance with boots, I fucking shuffle everything around and do obnoxious, stupid stuff. Like for taking blinding ashes here, for example, and smothering orders. This is just how this came to be. What you see on the stream today is a mystery that will be revealed in an upcoming video. Isn't that going to be exciting, guys? I guess I will take persisting flames, and I will actually keep. This is all actually okay. It's not that bad. Yeah. So I had the hiccups, and I just couldn't stop. I don't understand. I actually got... And I know that sounds funny. And I know that hiccups are kind of goofy, like whatever things to people. But I started getting really concerned and annoyed. Like, deeply annoyed. Like, pissed off. It actually started to, like, make my throat and, like, my chest feel sore. I had them for that long. Just incessant hiccups, hiccups, hiccups. And I Googled, like, multiple times, tricks to stop hiccups. But it's always this, like, bullshit, like, old wives' tale nonsense. Like, you need to suck on an onion while looking in the mirror. And then that'll fix it. Or, like, pull on your tongue really hard. And I actually had a moment earlier today where I was sitting there pulling my tongue in a painful way, trying to stop hiccups. And hiccuping through it nonetheless. I just want you guys to imagine how stupid that looked. But, yeah, I couldn't sleep. I've never gone to sleep, and the hiccups persevere. So anyway, I ended up Googling it, and, you know, because eventually, if you have hiccups for too long, eventually there's going to be something medically wrong with you, right? What I read, diagnosing myself, is that 2 days, 48 hours straight of hiccups, if you get 48 hours of it, that's known as incessant hiccups. And that's probably go to the doctors. But it's about 48 hours before you should actually think, okay, maybe there's a problem here. I read all kinds of weird stuff, like if there's a hair in your ear touching your eardrum, it can cause you to get the hiccups and stuff. How weird is that? And I don't feel any hair in my eardrum or any issue there, but I, like, you know, ram my finger in there, see if I can feel anything, like anything I could do to stop the hiccups. And yeah, so I'm exhausted, and I've not had a particularly great day, to be honest. I've been sitting around in PvP, killing time, avoiding this edit, and just like in a zombie-like state. So I'm pretty much checked out here. The hiccups have now stopped. the end of the story is there is a trick. It's a trick I always knew, but Google gave me a slightly different version of it, right? So a hiccup is like just a spasm. It's like a spasm of your diaphragm, right? And if a muscle ever like has a spasm or a twitch, what you do is you just stretch it, right? So what I've always done to get rid of hiccups is take one big, really deep breath and hold it as long as you can. And by doing that, you push your chest right out, and by doing that, you're really stretching your diaphragm and then hopefully fixing it. And usually that does work for me, but I have to do a really deep breath, like an insanely deep breath. But try as I might over this recent bout, it was just not working. It was never working. So I Googled and Googled, found all these weird results. But the one that actually landed in the end, I just had a weird out-of-body moment realizing how boring this whole topic is. The one that worked was take a deep breath, but not like ludicrously deep, right? Hold it 10 seconds, and then take more breath in. And hold it as much as you can, and then hold it 10 seconds. And after 10 seconds, you'll realize you can take more breath in again. And it's said to do that like 3 times in a row. If you do that 3 times in a row, then it will fix them. And I was like, well, that's basically just my old technique, just slightly refined. And it made sense, so I tried it, and it actually did work. And that was maybe 3 hours ago that happened. And I haven't drank anything since then. I'm really scared because I feel like the second I drink something, like, it doesn't matter whether it's still or whether it's fizzy or what, I'm really scared it's going to come back. I wonder whether I'm more prone to hiccups when I'm sleep deprived as well, which is this very ironic, horrible thing, right? Your sleep deprivation causes you to hiccup, which causes you to become more sleep deprived. Yeah, I mean, I know, I need to stay hydrated. So, Cougar there in chat, I was just PvPing with. He wasn't coming into comms with us. We have kind of an interesting comp going on, which is basically I built a virtues-oriented support firebrand, and it runs virtues instead of honor because it doesn't run merciful intervention, and it doesn't necessarily care that much about lesser smite. If you actually look, not honor, sorry, valor. If you actually look at the valor line, there's really not that much value beyond like the toughness trait, the shield cooldown trait, and you can only pick one, and then the whole meditations thing. I'm not running renewed. I'm not running merciful intervention. I'm not running contemplation of purity. I'm not doing any of those. So it's a support firebrand that goes virtues, which has, you know, all the passive healing, passive endurance generation, extra cleanse on entering F2. You can kind of think of the lesser smite condition as being traded away into, the start of an F2. That fucking trap has just ruined it. I'm not going to be able to get this guy now. I'll try. But hitting that trap means that I'm probably in combat with some of these things. Did it just spawn? No, not yet. I might be able to get one. It's still worth it if I can get one. Come on, you bastards. Don't do it. Oh. I think we got it. Nice. This is virtues, and the idea is it's what I'm calling a boon brand. And the concept is it's very simple. It's spamming really heavy prot, stab, quickness, and then the standards, retail, might, and all that stuff on the team. So it's like 25 might, perma quickness, perma prot, almost perma stab, which is a really big part of it, perma retail, on anyone you want. And the difference is really it's a slightly squishier firebrand, which is a very real concern, by the way. I totally get that, but it's like a few K health squishier. But what that allows you to do is then build a bunch of builds that really excel without having might and quickness. So like, if you guys don't know, the way that Guild Wars is kind of built at the moment is most meta builds, most really strong builds, they're all builds that have heaps of their own might access and heaps of their own quickness access. And there's a lot of really good builds out there, but because they don't have might or quickness, they kind of pale in comparison, right? They're good builds, but they don't have the might and quickness. Well, now you give it to them. So you can run shit like core Necro on power, where Lich form is suddenly this absurdly deadly thing, and the Shroud's skills are absurdly deadly. And you can tech those builds to really not give a fuck about might. They just take, you know, all damage modifiers and all, you know, whatever playmaking they need. And then their support deals with that whole thing. And it's quite liberating, you know. It's even liberating for stun breaks because you get so much stab. And what's come out of it is a really, really, really nasty fucking comp. Like, one of the hollows I play with today, I said one build that I thought would be really fun is if you think of it as like a DPS build, it's not going to go out on its own too much. But, like, Explosives Hollow does still exist. And Explosives Hollow is fucking nasty. Especially if it's an Explosive Hollow that can tech everywhere it wants for damage and not care about might. And then have something else give it perma quickness and perma 25 might. And nearly perma stab, which they supplement with their Corona Burst and stuff. That's, like, really deadly. It's hitting harder than all the other builds in the complement. The only part of our comp that's not really keying into it, and this was just for fun on ranked. The only part that's not keying into it is our warrior on the back node. And it's got nothing to do with the player. The player's playing it fine. And it's a meta strong build. It's just warrior already has its own 25 might. And warrior already has its own quickness for the moments that really matter. So the warrior doesn't really synergize too much. You know, I can be like, oh, I can have a 25 might quickness rampage. And I can do that on demand. If he's ever near me, our rampages are super deadly. But that's not actually that special, because guess what? Warrior's fucking loaded, and they're all used to doing that anyway. Oh, I pressed Frenzy before going into Rampage, and I had a tether up. Oh, what a difficult win condition. So, yeah, the Warrior bit, I don't know. But it's been interesting. It has been interesting. Okay, so, back to the hiccups. Hello, Doug. It's good to see you. Lily Zenon. Sounds like some shit you did in band. No spicy food. They trigger hiccups. Have I eaten spicy food recently? I feel like I have, but maybe I haven't. This is how tired I am. A science teacher of mine said that hiccup spasms are caused by muscles not contracting in unison, and that gets fixed by a sudden shock. And when a student got hiccups in class, he went right up to her face and yelled hiccups, and her hiccups actually stopped from that shock. I believe that story 100%. That's one of those stories that sounds really innocent, but I bet to have lived an experience would have been kind of fucked up. Like, I have a very, you painted a real picture there, dog. I have a very clear idea of, like, being in a classroom, right, where there are certain expectations of what a teacher does and what a student does and how we treat each other in civilized society. And I just imagine, like, a teacher just completely aggressively and violently breaking that boundary by screaming really horribly in someone's face. And it gets rid of the hiccups, but it's like, whoa. Like, it has to be over the line awkward and kind of fucked up to work, you know? And it's more casual in the retelling of than the experience. Stop making Warriors sound so brain dead, WTF. Sorry, Warriors, but I mean, let's be real. It's not that you're any worse than most of Guild Wars, so I wouldn't feel too bad. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to. Warriors fine. Obviously, people play at different levels, and the higher you climb, but that's true for everything. I will equally acknowledge the Warrior skill cap than I will any other supposedly brain dead build. They can all be engaged with on a deeper level, and all require you to engage on a deeper level once you get to a certain point with them. There's no such thing as a build that stays brain dead forever. There's always some little micromanagement and some extra little thing that you can be doing that will edge you out over the guy that doesn't do it. That's the nature of competitive game types. So, the retain your breath technique works, but you need to keep it in till the very limit. In general, people don't keep it in long enough, and that's why it does not work for them. I don't know, man. I mean, what is the limit? Blacking out. It took their mind off of it. Look, I do not believe in taking your mind off the hiccups, alright? Don't tell me I can just take my mind off the hiccups, alright? I'm sitting here daydreaming about all kinds of stuff. You guys have got no idea. The fucking inspiration and just stupid shit that my head goes off on if I'm just left alone for a second, right? Like fun, exciting, cool things that I'm always thinking of. Believe me, focusing on the hiccups is not my problem. It's a muscle spasm. I have no control over it. It's got nothing to do with what the cognitive, capacity of my brain or whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. What my brain's doing. All his classes were like that. Never. Actually, near the end of the semester, people were trying to see how far we could push him. And ultimately, one of us asked, "Do birds have penises?" And the teacher said, "That's weird. That's as far as any of us was willing to push." You all sound like geeks now. That's as far as you could push. At my school, we had students who like punched teachers and threw bricks and stuff. You want to push a teacher? I honestly think, if you're in a certain like socio-economic band and you choose to be a teacher in the United Kingdom, good fucking luck, because those people will be monsters to you, and they will treat you like an alien, and they will give you no sympathy, no respect, no love, no gratitudes. It's just cold-hearted, just fucking criminal, lizard-brained teenagers waging war and trying to make you cry every day for daring to try and educate them. Welcome to the United Kingdom. That is really what it is like in a lot of places. And you get paid fuck all for it as well, so congrats. Classic Brit bong education. What is Brit bong? I like that word, and I've heard it before, but I don't actually know what it means. Your Welsh class was so unruly, we caused our teacher to have a mental breakdown and quit, and we found out later she'd put herself into rehab. That felt bad. See, the feeling bad bit's interesting. See, I think one of the scummier parts of my personality is my ability to kind of rationalize away and not look directly in the eye any crimes or sins I might have committed in the past. Like, if I drove a teacher to, like, sadness in the past because of my abject lack of respect for them, or, you know, my desire to fit in amongst my peers and those of my age trumped my desire to care about an adult who presumably has got everything together and I'm too young to know the difference. I don't judge myself that hardly, because I just sort of think, well, look, it is what it is. I was what I was. Most teenagers can fall into that trap. There you go. I wonder whether that's scummy. I wonder whether that's like, I've got it all together, or whether that's like, I'm a scumbag that needs to reflect more on his past. Do you know what I mean? By the way, this is all kind of theoretical. I can't actually think of any specific terrible thing. I can't remember ever being deliberately malicious to an individual teacher that couldn't take it and I broke their heart or something. I don't have any example like that. But it wouldn't surprise me. You know, I've been part of like group experiences that have broken teachers down for sure. Like, I mean, I don't want to get too specific about a lot of stuff, but I have one very clear memory of a teacher breaking down and into tears and crying and stuff. And the way that we got the teacher to do this was at my school, when a class would start, you wouldn't be allowed in until you were like admitted in. So you'd all have to be outside and you'd presumably line up or something. And anyway, the teacher came along this day, and I don't know, I can't really remember the specifics of how. I assume that some of the people at the front decided, but people just sort of, the teacher said, yeah, all right, you can come in. And people said no. And the teacher couldn't even get us in the class. Everyone just stood around in the hall chatting, doing nothing, and just blatantly ignoring as a group, you know. And when you got like 30 people that just don't care and just aren't listening, like you have the echo chamber on your side. You have strength of numbers, you know. The bystander effect kicks in to an extent, right? It's not my job to break the will. All right, I'll just sit here and chat. I'll look out in the hallway. And the teacher couldn't even get us in the class, and then the teacher broke down into tears. And I suppose I would be a part of that, right? But I don't really kick myself over it. Is that good of me or bad of me? Yay or nay? Let's see it. Vote, chat. This is it. But yeah, I mean, I could give you 1,000 stories like that for sure. Yay, and then there's a nay, and there's another nay. I mean, it's a rocky road, right? Because on the one hand, you want to feel like you're accountable, you want to feel like you're responsible, you want to feel like you've treated past mistakes with reverence and stuff. But on the other hand, it's not healthy to dwell in the past, and it's, you know, it's probably adult to pick and choose your battles. So when have you gone too far with it? What's the criteria for something you should be lingering on? I just don't think I have anything like that in my backstory. Teenagers are whack, all the hormones. Am I an agent of chaos or am I a schemer? Is that what that is? If you don't scheme, you are an agent of chaos? I described recently in video games, I tend to pick like the more chaotic choice just because I tend to think it's going to be interesting to see what the devs have done for like the really obscure choices. I always find that's interesting to wonder about, so I tend to go a bit chaotic. Or I also have a tendency, because I've got a small brain and limited imagination, it's nearly always easier to be chaotic to try and brew some entertainment than it is to have some, you know, premeditated agenda, you know. Yeah, I guess scheme would have been schemed out. So I guess maybe I'm a little bit more chaotic like that, with games in particular. How am I today? Very tired, as I described earlier. The hiccups have kept me in a hell of living. I want the sweet release of sleep. Not for that long, but yeah. You take the schemer's little plans and you turn it on yourself. Hold on, are you quoting Heath Ledger's Joker right now? I swear there's a line like that. Being chaotic neutral is the best thing. See, I used to think that. I did used to think that, because it's kind of like, I don't know, I sort of respect the idea of being able to walk that fine line, you know? And in media, I tend to, you know, people always do those, like, alignment charts of your favorite TV show, you know? So, oh, I'm watching the Justice League animated. Who's on the alignment chart? Where do we put Superman? Where do we put Batman? Where do we put, you know, Wonder Woman? There you go. I'll stick with the Trinity before I'm tested on my my Justice League, my DC knowledge. People do those alignment charts. I tend to always like the one that's in that center box, you know. But all that said, it's also, I don't know, it's kind of pissy, isn't it? It's like, come on, make a stand, pick a side. Maybe I'm getting to that age where I need everything that I think and believe and whatever. I need like definitive answers to things. I don't like these complicated like nuances in my life anymore. I don't like just appreciating that a question might exist and that it might have multiple answers. No, damn it, there's one answer, and that's that you need to fix Corteria. You know? I'm getting to that age where I'm not allowed to have complicated feelies. It's just too much work, and it's been too many years. So I'm doing it. I'm metamorphosizing into an old man, as everyone eventually will do. Life will beat you down. That's what aging is. It's realizing that life is beating you down. It's the slow. Oh, what's the word? It's a slow recession. A steady surrender. Oh my god, it's like I'm writing lyrics right now. I kind of wanted to do that Portal, but he sent it back. I'm actually really concerned now that someone's watched the stream, noticed that that I don't have the torch lit or something, and they're trying to send me back quickly to fix the issue, and I've just gone barreling on ahead. I hope that's not true. I can still see the light around this, so that's got to be a thing, right? Who knows what we're really seeing in our delirium. By the way, WP, teach me the mathematics of computer graphics for my test in 1.5 hours. What? Teach me the mathematics for computer graphics. I couldn't even begin. I know so little about that topic. I can't even like give you a joke answer. I'm out of my depth. Do you know the bread alignment chart, aka the best alignment chart? Where are you on that? The bread alignment. So I'm guessing. All right, it's either going to be like. I don't know. I'm interested. What is it? Is it like toasts? Is it like bagels versus, you know, white slice sandwich? What other kinds of bread are there? There's lots of bread. It's the hot dog sandwich thing. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Is cereal soup? Why not? White bread is fucking trash. Fuck white bread eaters. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. Quick mint. Chill out. Jesus Christ. All right. I don't know if you realize, but we're the PMA casual stream. Okay. You chill out about those bread opinions. We get nothing again. What a shocker. I never announced to you guys that the strike was on the table, so we can try that. Oh, we got messages. Kato, watched the VOD of yesterday, and when you said ArenaNet wouldn't add shiny Pokemon, I immediately thought of Tequatl and Arene, really recent example, weapons, which are literally like shiny weapons. So what do we think, guys? Is he right? Am I full of shit? I mean, we definitely packaged the discussion about infusions into that yesterday, and I think everything we wanted to say about that is fair, and there are similarities between infusions and shinies, and I would say that the Aurene and the tech weapons are kind of the same. I think, though, my argument on this would be I tend to think that the phenomenon of shiny Pokemon is quite a central focal point for people's enthusiasm in that franchise. If you're into Pokemon video games, you tend to be thinking about those to a fairly great extent. You might decide that you're going to farm for them. You pick your method of farming. You might want to trade for them. Whatever. Like, it's not like everyone. It's not like they're not. It's not a feature on par with like having a the legendary that's on the box or something like that. It's not super normie as a thing. But I do think it's a pretty significant focal point for some nerds' enthusiasm. Now, by contrast, the tech weapons, the Aurene weapons, the Chuck Egg Sack, the Queen Bee, to what extent that focal point is a large focal point within the full size of Guild Wars 2's franchise, I think it's actually a lot smaller. The significance of the Guild Wars 2 feature is nowhere near as major as the significance of the Pokemon feature. And because, in my perception, and I do obviously there are some super nerds in Guild Wars 2 that really care about the Chuck Egg Sack and stuff, but they feel like a much bigger minority than the number of Pokemon fans that are interested or aware or know about and aspire to get shiny Pokemon. Now, I think that the difference in you know how important these are for their respective franchises does affect a lot. I think my cynicism about the studio culture and the kind of things that ArenaNet will embrace and won't embrace is still very relevant, because for all the big stuff, all the Guild Wars things that are of equivalent size to shinies, ArenaNet don't make extreme decisions like that. I think we see that they've got an extreme like transgression from the status quo within Guild Wars for these shinies, just because it's a fringe thing, so it's whatever, you know, they feel like they can get away with it. But you wouldn't see them do a 1 in 10,000 drop on a raid reward. You just wouldn't, that you can't get for, you know, a currency at the same time. You just don't see that. You see they get a little bit close with like the chairs, right? The Doom Throne or like the ghostly infusion, but that's not on the same level as the Chuck Egg Sack or whatever. They don't do that. They won't do that, you know. And that's because raiding is a bigger feature within the broad scheme of Guild Wars 2, so they're careful about it now. They won't do it. Meanwhile, Game Freak is doing something quite ludicrous and is deliberately center stage, and they'll stand by it. So yeah, I've probably explained that in 4 separate ways now, trying to grasp at some articulacy. But there you go. Thank you for the enthusiasm there in Blanky. Thank you. That means a lot to me, and I don't know why. The bread alignment chart is how you store bread after you open it from the bag, and it's 200% accurate. Oh. Oh, okay, alright. Well, look, I'm a pretty trashy guy, to be honest, in some ways. So, on all these kinds of food storage things, I'm pretty laissez-faire. I don't really care that much. I'm pretty chill about things, so, you know. I don't know what the alignment chart looks like, but here's what I do with bread. Okay, so it will come in like a plastic, like a flimsy plastic, I want to say bag, right? But it's not really a bag. It's a bread bag, right? It's kind of rectangular in shape, and it's built specifically to house the bread. I'll open that up. I'll pull a slice out, and then what I'll do is I'll grab it, like bundle it together, and then I'll like with my other hand spin the bottom of the bag to spin it a little bit, and then I'll throw it back in the cupboard. And what I'll do is I'll push the loaf against the wall, the side wall of the cupboard, so that it's pressed where I've spun the, you know, spun it closed. If I just left it, it would unravel and open. But what I've now done is I've wedged it lightly, but against the cupboard wall from within the cupboard. So now it can't unspool itself because it's pressed against the wall. And that's how I leave my bread. Alright, because it takes about 2 seconds to do that. No fuss, no muss, simple. Alright, let's try and 5-man it. That's how I store bread. I don't do anything more complicated. Yeah, the wall assist, yeah. And yeah, later on, if you've had a lot of slices, maybe you can twist it enough that then you can tie it. But that doesn't really work when you've just cracked into a new loaf, you know. You don't have that much slack. You can't twist it that much. So, you know, that's not a one size fits all thing. You know, I'm assuming some people do like cloves pegs. Because the classic I think about is all the different ways people store cereal, you know. So, I don't know whether she's at the stream right now. I'm not looking at chat well enough. But if you were to ask Kerry about this, she grew up with like birds. And you have to be like really careful with bird food and bird seed about grubs and stuff contaminating things. And like as a little girl, that was like something she had to deal with. So I know that she is really meticulous about sealing stuff. Right? So she's super different to me. But it's like founded on something, I guess. For me, I've always been, like I said, I'm trashy. I'll just dump it around. Yeah, okay, she's not here. This stream, you learn everything you need in life. By the way, I'll also point out, I don't really buy bread. I literally... I think if I bought bread, most of it would just go off, you know, so... Then it's like, why did I buy this? And then I don't want to buy one of those little loaves, because, you know... You have to have the twist on the end facing out, so you don't do that. Why do you have to have the twist coming out? Twist and tuck is chaotic neutral. Is it really? That's quite funny. If that ends up as the chaotic neutral choice, that is quite funny. Living without bread every day does not compute with your brain. What do you mean, man? Look, bread's alright. But bread's one of those things where sometimes it's delicious, but a lot of the other times I just don't really care that much about it. And the other thing is as well, a few years ago when I started like looking up nutrition and stuff, right? I realized bread is like really bad for you as well. Like I know that that's one of those annoying things no one ever wants to hear, but it really is. Bread is like really bad for you. So it's sort of like why bother? You know, it's got to be really tasty. If you're gonna eat something bad for you, it best be something like really tasty and really good. Bread. I mean, what a like nothing thing to fill up on. Empty calories. That's what I would call bread. Oh, you're French. Yeah, okay, to be fair, French bread, oh my god. What do you call French bread if you're in France? But dude, yeah, that you know, like a stick of French loaf or whatever. Oh my god. Non-French bread is bad because it's full of sugar. Is that really what you've heard? That's interesting to me because what I've always heard is that our bread is normal bread, but if you go to America, their bread is cake because it's full of sugar. Like, it literally tastes more like cake than anything else. That's not a fact I've been able to verify just yet, but Dutch bread is better than French bread. Why is there no English bread? Why are we so uncultured that we don't even have our own type of bread? Do you know what we've got? Yorkshire puddings. Pancakes that you put in the oven. Brilliant. And we also have mashed potato. Get Key to send some Wonder Bread. What's Wonder Bread? Is that full of like hundreds and thousands and stuff? That literally is like a cakey thing, right? You hate grainy bread? No, I'm one of those twats that likes the more sort of interesting bread. We have bread separate from cakes. The thing that's confusing between UK and USA is cookies and biscuits. No. Listen. Soralanthea. I acknowledge that in the United States there are two separate products that you can buy. One is known as a cake, one is known as bread. I acknowledge that. Everyone acknowledges that. But what they're saying is that when you are in America and you buy from a supermarket what is purporting to be bread, it tastes like cake to the rest of the world. Because there's a very real thing. And by the way, I don't say this as like a sneery, judgy thing where I think that the UK is so much better. The UK has like nearly every single problem the US does. Nearly. Right? So, believe me, we're stuffed with sugar and stuff over here. It's just as bad. But the idea is that, you know, there's so much sugar and whatnot pumped into just standard foods and standard dining experiences in the US. And things are at such a turbocharged level that even the bread kind of has so much like of this addictive sugary stuff pumped into it, but by contrast it doesn't actually taste like cake when you're eating it within the US. But when you would, if you were just to eat it as someone, you know, from Europe, you realize, holy shit, this thing's really sweet. This is bread, but it tastes like it could be a dessert kind of thing, you know. And that is totally a thing, guys. If you don't eat any sugar at all for like a good couple of months, your taste buds will completely change, and you'll find stuff that you used to really enjoy is like disgusting. You'll be like, what the, how? Ugh. You won't be able to have it anymore because it's just so gross. Okay, so let's check when this festival is up. And you got to like work your way back up. If you even can, I don't know. I mean, as a little kid, where you get a lot of the habits you get. Oh, it's up right now. We got to go kill some fans right now. That's a weird sentence. Your taste buds are literally like physically different, aren't they, when you're little? You love salt? I love salt too, man. For real. Okay, so here's a good example, all right? I want you all to imagine a pretzel. The experience of eating a proper bread pretzel, all right? Like, you know, it's freshly made. It's not one of those little, like, crunchy biscuit things. It's like a bread, big, you know, you hold it in, like, two hands kind of thing. It's all twirled up. Okay, and you're eating this pretzel, and it's like an original flavor pretzel or whatever, right? It's standard. It's like a normal pretzel. And what does that mean? It's a salted pretzel, basically. There's salt on it. Now, I want you to imagine that experience of chewing into that. What is the bit that you actually find really pleasurable? Is it the bread and, like, the texture of the bread on your tongue and whatnot, and, you know, all that goes with that? Or is it those, like, chunky, white, crystally salt, you know, crystals all over it? Is it the salt that you enjoy? To me, it's the salt. I love the salt. That's why I would eat a pretzel. Not because I care about the bread, but basically because I want an excuse to ingest salt. That's what I like. Your diet is rice, bread, and chocolate. That sounds very balanced. WP, tell them about going to a chippy, getting some fish, and adding extra salt. To be honest, I'm not really that into battered stuff. It's nice, right? I'll have it. But there's like a greasy kind of... I don't really like grease that much. I think a lot of people in the UK love grease, you know. We love greasy full English fry-ups and stuff like that. We love like greasy fried bread. And we love like battered sausage and cod in batter and stuff. And they're all greasy. But I don't really like that much. And I don't like how greasy a lot of chippy chips are. You know, I'll eat chippy chips. But again, that's one of those things where they're just so wildly, ludicrously fattening. Like, literally, you can see yourself... Basically, from my, like, you know, my socio-economic band. I'm looking for another word. I already said that on the stream, so I feel weird saying it again. But from, like, my, you know, the amount of money that I knew as I grew up and the, you know, my family and the people around me and stuff. Pretty much anyone in their, like, 40s or 50s, they're all, like, pretty overweight, right? Or getting overweight. And I'll tell you why. It's because they all love the chippy. And you can just see it. And the food just isn't worth it. It's just not worth it. It's got to be really tasty to be worth becoming a porker over. Do you know what I mean? Or having to work out, like, a ridiculous amount just to keep on par. And I don't know. I don't like the greasy stuff that much, so. But, I mean, yeah, salt and vinegar on chips. I'll take it. It is worth it, a good fish and chips. I don't know, man, honestly. I don't know. I would take, like, sweet stuff before that. I would eat cake. Or I would have, I mean, I don't know. Some of the most fattening stuff that I'm really into is, like I like a lot of stuff from Greg's, right? So, I mean... That stuff's pretty greasy a lot of the time too. You know, like pasties and shit like that. Good fish and chips is impossible to find in the US. Out where I am, you've tried everywhere. What makes it good though? I'll tell you what good fish and chips is to me. Is when you're at the beach. That's like godly. There's something about it being a hot summer day, and you've got those chips in like that paper cup, you know. And yeah, the salt. All right, now we're in heaven. Now we're in heaven. Isn't it just some battered and fried bland white fish? Yeah, you've described that perfectly, Hamad. Yeah, I mean, cod in batter, let's be real, guys. It doesn't even taste of fish. It just doesn't. It's super bland. It's like everyone here as well, they all like korma. They're like, oh, I love a good korma. And it's not even a good korma. It's not even that coconutty. It's just literally like the most bland, like least curry you could get. But no, that's what they go for. God, we have such developed palates. The sauce is a good part of fish and chips. Korma's my favourite because you hate spice. Jerry, you're extremely British to me right now. I know you're younger than me, or I think last we talked, maybe you are, I can't remember anymore. But you seem very, very like one generation over me. Very, very, very British. The ultimate British. You like corner after her eyes were eaten. You mean Cormier? Someone's desperately trying to bring it back to Guild Wars 2 lore. We have actually not talked about Guild Wars all stream. Oh, no, we did. We talked about like the Queen Bee and stuff. Alright, we're at 300%. We get to kill fans going up to 400, right? Oh, by the way, the race? It's over already. You never grew up with spice? I did not like spicy stuff for a very, very, very long time. It took me an even longer time to start seeking it out. And even still, I wouldn't go crazy. You donated the bread alignment chant thing. Check it out later. You donated it? Are you telling me you donated, Doug? And you put a link with it? Let me have a look. You're British Indian. Convert to the spicy ways, Jerry. I'd listen to him. Bread Boy tipped $3.33. Thank you very much. Show this image on stream, he says. Thank you, Bread Boy. Bread Boy! God, I'm really scared at what I'm about to see here. Oh no, okay, it's... Alright, so here's the bread alignment chart. Oh my god, it's like, it really has, it covers them all. It's got my, oh wow. Alright, here, look, so. Hope you appreciate that my investing in this has prevented us from getting some crazed fans right now. Alright, so what do we got? We've got Lawful Goods is using a bread box. Who owns a bread... Guys, okay, in my chat right now, if you own a bread box, I don't care if you use it, alright? I don't care if it's not really yours, it's your roommates, or it's your mum and dad's, and you're not moved out yet, or whatever, I don't care. If at your place of residence there is a bread box, let's hear it. Type a 1. I want to know, how many of you even own bread boxes? At what point in a person's life do they think, you know what I need? A bread box. Or a bread bin. I guess, yeah. Unbelievable. Alright, next, neutral good using a bag clip. Now, I've known people who do that. I'm not one of them. A bag clip. So, with bag clips, that just seems like clutter that you can lose eventually. I wonder how much they cost. Chaotic goods. Using the bottle hack. What's the bottle hack? What is that? What? The lid of a bottle? There's a way of... Oh, I bet I know what they do. Do they take a pair of scissors to a plastic bottle? And then... Oh, I know what it must be. I'm guessing here. Chop off the top of a plastic bottle. Feed the bag through it. Right, on the inside, and like flour it out, right? It's like like you're threading a pipe, basically, right? And then screw the cap on afterwards, and the cap will screw over the fabric of the bag. That's a pretty cool little tip there. That's like a housewife with way too much time on their hands, but I would legitimately use. Lawful neutral. Reusing the bag clip. Oh, that's a cop-out. True neutral, rubber band. How is that true neutral? Chaotic neutral, twist and tuck. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do, yeah. Dude, tying a knot. This is actually kind of cool, because I knew someone who used to do tying a knot, and it was really obnoxious. Why do I know so much about this? This is good. This is good comedy. This is observations about things people never realized they wanted them. Dude, the tying the knot. There are totally families that do that. Neutral evil. I don't see anything wrong with that. You might even find I do that on occasion. And then chaotic evil, just leave it open. No, you definitely don't leave it open because it will go hard. But I don't know. I mean, if you're cooking it all that day or you're using it all. Your mum ties the knot? Does your dad have a different technique, Mo? That would be kind of interesting. You're like 5 of these, depends on what bread brand. Yeah, because there's some, I didn't mention it earlier, but some of the bread that you can buy like comes in like a paper bag. Oh, the lengths we go to make killing crazed fans during the concert for the ages entertaining. Oh my god, WP is a slob. Well, no, again, because I don't do any of this anymore, because I don't really buy bread anymore, but, you know. The point of chaotic evil is you take it for yourself, but spoil. Yeah, it's just kind of the I don't give a shit, kind of. Soul Reaper got reaped. Oh, the race went up, did it? It did go up. Oh, my God. Shh, we sneak off. We turn off Every time. Dude, come on, Liz. Please. Oh. Look, the game is desperate. I'm hard stuck. You guys know how hard it is to get stuck like this in Guild Wars. It tends to be okay and let you out. But I can't mount, so I have to waypoint. So I'm close, but I can't get... there's one shot maybe if I'm on the nav mesh. No, I'm not. We have to waypoint. Oh, there's already 4 people that did it anyway. Ah, there is. Yeah, that tune is in game. Yeah, there's multiple metal songs that they released with this episode. It's very, very, very cool. I totally recommend you guys all check them out, for sure. All right, okay, so with that done, let's see how many crazed fans we got. Right, guys, this has been a very strange one, and I know it's short again, and I feel like I'm really letting you down. I know I had that weird moment on yesterday's stream where I suddenly said, look, thanks for coming and stuff. I really do mean it. Everyone who's tuning in and stuff, even though the YouTube videos are so slow at the moment, I really appreciate it. I really do, and I will try to actually make it more worth your while very soon. I do have a big video that I'm hoping to get edited and pushed up with Boots soon, but I also hope to get some sleep finally. Some real sleep anyway. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I can't even remember what I was looking for on this. Oh, we were looking for how many? So we're 240 out of 250. So we're about halfway. Basically, we've got to do everything we did all over again soon. Quick question to wrap up. John, Paul, George, or Ringo? I actually don't know anything about the difference between them. Except... yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you. Some people are going to cringe at that, but honestly, I remember... I know vague stories and vague trajectories of what they did, but not whose name is associated with which. Anyway, there you go, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. I'm not going to directly host because I'm just going to leave straight here. But please do remember to check out any low-viewed Guild Wars 2 streams right now where people maybe put face cam on and they actually are trying and they've got no one watching them. Go drop in at Drippin and say hi to them. You never know. Could be really good. Cheers, guys. I'll see you on the next one.